when it comes to client building, the most important habit to form is the habit of getting 25 referrals a week. We take 1,000 referrals, which is the front end of the model, and we recognize that you're going to mess up for 2 months. 2 months is right out of training. You're going to be learning how to walk and talk at the same time in the business. And so we say 25 a week, 100 a month, 1,000 your first year. If you can accomplish that, and you can, if you choose to accomplish that, by dedicating yourself to it, you're going to be forced to learn the language. You're going to be forced to get very good at the art. You're going to be forced to practice, 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 because you can't do something week in and week out unless you feel good about it. And it's that dedication to excellence, that dedication to making sure you never leave the office on a Friday until you've gotten your 25 referrals. If you will do that on a consistent basis, you have accomplished the most important piece of client building, because if you have the raw material to make the phone calls and to schedule the approaches and to do the facts, you will be a master in the business. When you look at the top people in our industry, it's not talent. We think it's talent, and I think some of the top producers sometimes believe it's talent, but in reality, it is that dedication to hard work, it's that dedication to mastery, and it starts with a commitment to that 25 a week, because all the great language and all the great talent in the world won't work at 10 a week. It just won't work. There's not critical mass enough. And in your first year, you have nothing but time, and you don't have existing clients. Getting 100 referrals a month is the most important habit to be formed by a producer. Well, regarding the whole concept of 25 ahead, which we hear a lot of, Al Granum really said 30 ahead. And the reason he did is because the phoning, the habit that we form by 9 o'clock phoning every morning, which is dependent upon our having the names to call, that habit formed, we're building up next week. We're building up next week, but we're also filling in this week. And so if I start the week 25 ahead, that's probably going to be enough for me, because at the end of the week, when I look at how many appointments I've actually scheduled, including what I started with and what I did through the week, our studies tell us, and Granum's studies tell him, that you got to schedule about 30 appointments to keep 18. And if you're lucky, 20. And if you have 50% kept, 15. That 15 to 20 range, that 18, that is the sweet spot for success. If you hit that point, you almost can't fail. I've never seen anybody who kept consistently 15. And Al Granum is famous for saying, if your appointments kept go below 15, it's a warning sign. I fear that we're losing that in the industry, because so many people are trying to get by at 10 to 12. It doesn't work. Well, you can succeed, but only through great pain. Why put yourself through great pain when you can put yourself through the pain of weekly commitment, hit the 18, 15 to 20, and have great success? Fact-finding is the throbbing heartbeat of what we do. Everything we do, from asking for referrals, to making phone calls, to fighting through the cancellations, to get to that approach and that moment where we have the fact, everything we do is to get into that fact finder. And everything we do from there, preparing the solution, presenting the plan, asking for action in the close, everything else we do emanates from that throbbing heartbeat of the fact. So we got to understand it's showtime. Fact finder is showtime. And we can't, somebody said to me once, Jim, how do I get really a new producer? How do I get really good at doing a fact finder? And I said, go back and do 300 and come back and see me. You've got to do 300 fact finders your first year to become a master. People say, well, the reason he does 300 is he's so good at it. And I say, no, no, no. The reason he's so good at it is because he does 300. When you put that up to a new producer, they don't know any better. They say, okay, 25 a month, 300 your first year, I can do that. Somebody who's been out 6 months and finds it difficult because they're not doing enough prospecting, they're not, because of that, not making enough phone calling, because of their lack of dedication to 30 ahead, they're not 30 ahead. Because of that, they begin to say, well, maybe I'm okay at 15, which locks in mediocrity for a period of years. Maybe success, but only through great pain. So 300 in the first year, and then the next year, you can back it off a little bit. You get to back off your referred lead prospecting a little bit and go higher on the quality. What I say, and I learned this a long time ago from a veteran producer, he said, quality before quantity, but never sacrifice quantity for quality. The best you can get, but by golly, always do 25. But never sacrifice on quality, but never sacrifice on quantity. You got to do both. The second year, you can ratchet it down to about 17 a month. The third year, you ratchet it down to about 15 a month. And then for the rest of your career, 12 a month. If you can do 12 to 13 fact finders a month, every month for your career post 4 years, going from 25 to 17 to 15 down, you will have a stage career. You'll have a career where you'll be the top producer in your company, not just your agency. Al Granum's efficiency points are a real measuring stick for success. The other day, one of my producers said to me, I really love the points. I need money, but I know the points are going to get me there. And I said, exactly. That's exactly right. You hear people say, knee-jerk reaction, get 100 points, get 100 points. Really not enough. Your first year, you need 117 a month. That's the norm, and that's what we've got to get people to understand. If you can get 117 a month as a minimum, 1,400 your first year, that really translates into, well, 1/2 a point for a referral, 1 point for a fact finder, 1 point for a case opened, 1 point for a closing interview, and 1 point for a business meal. The reason Al Granum said 1 point for a business meal is he said it's a wonderful place to build that relationship. It's a wonderful environment when you're breaking bread to build that relationship. And so we give a point for that, a 1/2 point for referrals, and a point for the other 3 pieces. If you can put together a balanced 1,400 points your first year. When I say balanced, I mean not overloaded in any one area. It is another piece in the puzzle of success. Your second year, again, you can ratchet it down to 1,300. The third year, and thereon 1,200 for really the rest of your career. And I know financial reps I know producers who have been in the business 30 years and are still dedicated to 100 points a month. And those are household names in our industry. There's nobody who does 100 points a month beyond 10 years who is not a household name in our industry. And if that's what somebody wants, here's the recipe to get there.